Welcome to Healer Within podcast series. There are many pathways to healing that fall outside the realm of Western medicine and traditional approaches. The purpose of this podcast series is to educate and inspire the community to explore the multitude of lesser utilized pathways to healing the mind, body, and soul. Hypnosis, yoga, meditation, energy healing, sound healing, and yes, even art, music, and dance. For these self-empowering, soul-driven, and vibration-raising modalities exponentially promote and unleash the healer within. Through this series, I hope you will begin to reclaim your power and discover your own unique formula for healing by engaging and aligning the soul, the mind, and the body with the frequency of the higher self. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your healing journey. Hi there, and welcome back to Healer Within podcast. This is Amy Marohn, hypnotherapy and host. Today we have a wonderful guest, Gina Bluebird. She is a high school principal at a choice Native American school in Washington. Hello, Gina.
Hello. Good to see you, Amy.
Oh, good to see you. And just to let our viewers and listeners know what the topic of today's podcast is, we're going to be exploring blue ocean education models. And these are schools that operate outside the mainstream high school experience. And Gina's going to share a little bit more about what makes this high school, choice Native American high school in Washington State, different from other mainstream schools.
Yes.
Yeah.
So would
Do
you
you
like
want
me
to
to jump
start
in?
maybe by answering that loaded question?
Sure.
What makes this school, and I can even just drill it down and make it even simpler, like what makes this school a choice school? Because that's an interesting phrase that a
Yeah.
lot of listeners might not be familiar with.
Yes. So a choice school is just referring to students and families choose to bring their kids to our school.
Mm-hmm.
We have two major high schools in the district, and then we have two choice high schools
Mm-hmm.
within our district.
Mm-hmm.
And students and families, they choose to come here. There is no boundaries to abide by. We don't have a feeder middle school, meaning we're not assigned to any middle school where students will come here when they're done with middle school.
Okay.
That's all that choice means.
Okay.
Um, and and the other part of that is being a choice school means that we do education a little differently here.
Okay.
Um,
Let's talk about that. What does that
so
look like on the inside, educationally?
So we're also located on a reservation here in Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
So the tribe has they have noticed and they've known that school needs to look different for their students,
Okay.
for the Native students, and the tribal students um, we're located on the reservation, and so we just know that the way education is done currently is not conducive to the learning of our Native students.
Mm-hmm.
Because historically, the way we have always learned is by, observation, hands-on,
Mm-hmm.
learning from our elders, learning, and then being out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And school is not that way. We are
Mm-hmm.
in the classroom with books, with lecture,
Mm-hmm.
with questions to answer on paper or on the computer. So many of our students weren't successful in school. So we had to think about how can we think about school in another way so it's successful for our Native students. Also, the other piece is that, historically, students went to school at board, and it wasn't it just wasn't a pleasant time. It was a time of when Native people of this country were being colonized, and we were being forced out of our families and being forced to go to boarding school, which then disconnected us from our home life with parents, grandparents, and our community, which disconnected us from our culture, our language, our way of living and being, and having to learn a different way, which then disrupted our way of growing, developing. And now we're looking at generations later, we have students who are struggling. They struggle with reading, with math, with taking tests. So all of that encompass students were struggling a great deal. So we needed to think about how can we, and this goes into part of my philosophy, becoming an educator, knowing the history of what school was for Native people. And it was a tool for colonization, to assimilate students. And the way I came into education is thinking about how can we make school a tool to give back what was taken from Native people, giving back culture, giving back that positive self-identity that they once had. Because through the system, through the colonization, the Native students, children who then grew up to be adults, lost connection with their identity, which then now we're talking about like racism and oppression and discrimination, and which then leaves somebody with a very negative self-identity, or a very an identity that needs some healing. So in becoming an educator, I was like, what can we do? And how can we give back to Native students what was taken from their ancestors?
Wow.
And that comes into the language. There's Native people across, we always say across Indian country, which what we're saying is across North America. Tribe has a rich culture with song, with ceremony, with ways of being and understanding, and how we are connected to the world, how we're connected to the earth and to each other. And so we then through colonization and assimilation, we have lost some of those practices and way of being. The songs, we've lost some of our songs, we've lost the language, and there's some tribes who've lost all of it, and now it's like gone, it's gone forever.
Well, sure. Well, and Gina, I'm absorbing everything that you are saying about choice schools, and in particular Native American choice schools. And what I hear you saying is the importance of having the cultural component being integrated into the culture of the school and the curriculum. I
Absolutely.
what I can also extrapolate from what you're saying is a certain degree of customization or personalized approach. And then what I can also glean is the integration of more of a hands-on learning
Hmm.
that also correlates with more of the traditional classroom. Did I
Yes.
miss anything from what you shared? Because I just wanted to unpack it a little
Yes.
bit. Mm-hmm.
So, yes, absolutely. Everything you said. So, at our school, we do have language class. We
Mm-hmm.
have language class. We teach the history from a Native perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We teach history well, we teach across the United States, the history of colonization and
Mm-hmm.
assimilation, but then we also are very local
Mm-hmm.
and what we teach as well, and ensuring that the local history is also front and center.
Beautiful.
And
Mm-hmm.
in that, we also think about hands-on learning and exhibitionary learning
Yep.
exploring and really looking at who are you? Who are
Yeah.
we?
Yeah.
Um, and really getting into like what are those passions and
Mm-hmm.
but also, we every morning we start our day with drumming and singing, and it's a
Yeah.
grounding our day.
Mm-hmm.
So we look at that and
Mm-hmm.
songs and there is a little dancing,
Mm-hmm.
to some traditional dancing to some of the songs that are sung. And yeah, so we just, even if students feel like, why do we have to do this every day? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, it is not a have to, it's like you get to.
Yeah, completely. Well, and the other thing that I want to also bring into this conversation is, you had highlighted the important role of the elders
Hmm.
in your culture and in your community. How is that integrated into your educational culture at your school?
Yes, it is just a very important component. Like we
Mhm.
invite elders in to come in and teach. It's like we kind of leave it open, whatever they want to come in and teach,
Mhm.
whether it is how to make a craft, some weaving
Mhm.
or beading. Sometimes it's a lesson
Sure.
about a particular, we might be going through something here at school, and
Yeah.
so an elder can come in and do a lesson around that. And a lot of times it's using stories,
Yeah.
using storytelling
Yeah.
to teach that lesson. And we have something called Tony's Teachings.
Mhm.
And Tony is one of our community members, and we can call him an elder, although, he'll joke and say, I'm not quite there yet, but
Uh-huh.
um, but he, to the kids, to the
Mhm.
students, he is definitely an elder. And so he comes in and has a story to tell that always has a message behind it or a teaching behind
Mm.
it. And so that's, that having elders in our spaces is so important, and
Oh,
just
beautiful.
remembering.
It's a beautiful educational model that you're on the I think of you as a pioneer because you know Gina, you have just completed your first year in this
Yes.
leadership role. And I want to talk more about that because, as you know, as a hypnotherapist and a blue ocean coach, I'm mostly working with people whom I consider to be light workers
Mhm.
or either entrepreneurs or C-suite executives, including administrators who are very intentional in their career path. and
Mm-hmm.
tend to be more spiritually oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've been teaching for many, many decades.
Mm-hmm.
You could have taught anywhere at all on this planet with your rich background and all of the wisdom that you've gleaned across these decades. Why do you suppose
Mm-hmm.
this position drew you in? Can you talk a little bit about why are you here?
That is a great question. I've always been a believer in allowing my creator to guide me because I know my decisions, my great thinking about my life has always been not the best, my own thinking, my best thinking, the worst places. So early in my life, I would say that there was situations in my life that just brought me to my knees, and I had to go deep within and sit in prayer and go to ceremony to really get guidance in my life and guidance from my higher and what I learned from that as a younger adult
Mhm,
um, is that the creator has never steered me in the wrong direction.
mhm, mhm,
Listen, quiet the mind, and listen to the message of the creator that has always led me in the right direction. And 25 years ago, if you would have told me I would here be a principal at a high school, I would have just laughed and said, "No way, that is
Right.
not my path." Like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
um, but because I always did the next right thing and
Mhm,
always listened, my prayers, my intention, my communication with higher power was always like, please lead me in the right direction,
mhm,
allow me to see the right path for who I am,
mhm.
um, at the time as a young woman. And and it always seemed like I had doors open up. And I knew if there's a door that opened up for me, it's got to be a reason. I just prayed for something and here's this door, get and see where it leads me, even if I'm not sure what the and that's it's that kind of thinking and that kind of connection that has really got me here.
Yeah.
And where I am currently in Washington, I remember there was a time, I would say maybe 15 years ago, that we visit because we lived in Portland, Oregon.
Mhm,
My husband, he grew up in Seattle. And
mhm,
he's also native.
mhm,
He's a native from Oregon, Warm Springs tribe. And I'm actually Oglala Lakota from Pine Ridge, South Dakota.
mhm,
But I've lived in the Northwest for, gosh, 30 years or more.
mhm,
And I remember when my husband would bring me up to Washington we would just visit. And
mhm.
every time I came here, it was raining or it was
Right.
gray. And
Yeah.
I would say, gosh, every time we go there, it is always raining and it's gray. How do people live here? Um, but there was one summer that we came here and we were out at the bay and it was so beautiful. Like
Mhm.
just the scenery. I just
Yeah.
wanted to sit and just be with the scenery.
Mhm.
Like it was so beautiful. Like I got God's creation. That's how I
Yeah.
was feeling at the
Yes.
moment.
Uh-huh.
And when we decided to move here, I was researching different schools and communities
Mhm.
to work at.
Mhm.
And this area that I'm in here, in Tulalip, Washington, they were when I met with she was a cultural specialist and uh, a tribal member who was working at the school. at the time and I met with the two ladies, it was like an instant connection. And I just enjoyed them. They showed me around the school. They gave me this, little tour of the campus.
Mhm.
Um, and it was just a connection.
Yeah.
They were very open and
Mhm.
hospitable and kind, and they continued to recruit me for week after. And I just felt I was like, I need to teach there. I need
Yeah,
to go there
yeah,
and
it
teach.
feels right.
It
It
feels right.
feels right. Everything you're describing are these, it happens a lot of times that our intuitive mind
Right.
or our sense of, I call it clear sentience. We just have, or clear cognizance, a deep
Yes.
inner knowing that,
That's,
like, this is
yeah.
for me, this
Hmm.
feels right. And so we lean into it. Now, I'm going
Yeah.
to switch gears a little bit. And I love that you're sharing with us more about, that deep inner knowing of, like, hey, this might be the right geographic area.
Hmm.
There's the water and the mountains and the clean sea air, all the things,
Hmm.
right? Very much resonated with you. And
Yeah.
then this magical group of people
Yes.
who had all of these similar core values, the it factor, that made you feel comfortable and right at home. Now, I know that the first year of anyone working in a new leadership role brings forth some big challenges.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I say teachable moments, and we're
Yes.
essentially sometimes forced to evolve a little bit quicker than we want
Yes.
to. But I'm wondering, what wisdom can you share with listeners or viewers on, or higher moments of wisdom in your new leadership role? What did you learn about yourself as a leader year one, now
Yeah.
fully completed?
Again, going back to, I truly, I truly felt the creator brought me to this place and put me in front of all the right people, the right times to be in this position.
Mm-hmm.
And it was never my intention to be a principal. I thought I would just be a teacher my whole career and I
Mm-hmm.
would retire as such. But then as you grow and you evolve and you develop, uh, you start thinking differently about yourself,
Yeah.
about what you're doing, about, those you're impacting.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just being in front of the right people. I went back to school. I went back to grad school for a second
Mm-hmm.
time to, I thought, well, I'll get my admin degree and maybe I'll go and work in, maybe I'll be a dean or maybe I'll work at the district office or
Yeah.
something, but I didn't think principal.
Yeah.
My friend and I did an online program together.
Mm-hmm.
We both wanted support getting through an online program. So we did
Mm-hmm.
the program. And after coming out, this position came open at the high school.
Wow.
And I thought, well, I didn't want to go to high school, be a high school principal. If anything, I would have been like an assistant principal at the
Yeah.
elementary.
Yeah.
But then I was encouraged to apply and just see what
Mm-hmm.
happens. So I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that is even a story within itself. Like I didn't even get an interview. The interview process happened.
Mm-hmm.
The panel was pretty vast, and the panel didn't really connect those who had any of those that were being interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't connect with them really, and they were like, "Well, how come you didn't interview? How come the one native principal, the one native candidate, how come she did not get an interview?" And so the
Mm-hmm.
superintendent was like, "Well, I didn't know we had one." So she goes back to find my application and
Uh-huh.
they called me and she asked can you come in and for an interview? And
Mhm.
I just happened to be getting ready to leave my house,
Yeah.
going into town because I lived, like 10 miles. Um, she's she said, "Can you come in for an interview at some point?" I was like, "Well, I'm just on my way to town." And so I went right there and I got
Oh, yeah.
interviewed, and
Uh-huh.
by the end of the day, I was offered a position.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. Well, being in this position, there is a lot. And I know as a leader, you can't please everyone.
Yeah,
And you're
sure.
going to make decisions that not everyone is going to agree with, which
Yes.
then will ruffle feathers. And I will have to, explain myself. And so I already knew that coming in. And
Hmm.
so I was prepared, and I'm pretty good about not taking things personal.
Okay.
I can separate, that.
Uh-huh.
And so really exercising that part of myself, not taking things
Yeah.
personal, but know that decisions are made based upon factors, that
Yeah.
what is the best, you know, what's best for the whole. And what's
Hmm.
best for the whole isn't always best for one individual.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's a piece of wisdom, isn't it? Right.
Yes,
Right.
for sure.
Uh-huh.
So just having all of that, in my thought process, but I really feel like coming in, like I feel like a, I just feel like I had guidance all
Yeah.
along the way, and
Yeah.
even protection at times.
Yeah.
Protection, and even like the right thing to say sometimes, because
Yeah.
because
Yes.
you don't know sometimes. But
Yeah.
then it's like when you're walking with your higher self and you're walking with
Yeah.
higher purpose,
Yeah.
and you're always open to the message of your higher power,
Hmm.
they can come and like work through you or work with you and work
Oh,
alongside you. And
yes.
I truly feel like that's where I've been this
Yeah.
whole year. Because
Yeah.
it's been some of the most challenging work, but it's also
Hmm.
been some of the most rewarding.
Yeah, completely. Well, I want to talk about, and then that's so beautifully articulated. Even in my role, I speak a lot about, energies or wisdom coming
Mhm.
through me instead of from me, right?
Yeah,
And you can
right.
call it the higher self or higher power, spirit, or
Yeah,
high frequency energies, whatever it is, we're all kind of talking about the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
But I also think that's a very strong indication that we're following our soul's path,
Hmm.
and our higher
Yeah.
calling is there's just these consistent downloads that happen that make this role feel more aligned with
Hmm.
who we are.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so, and you have this, I know this from knowing you for a while, this incredible gift for active listening. But I think one of the challenges with being a leader is, well, number one, making yourself available to be a sounding board and an active listener. But the hardest part is, you know, not necessarily integrating other people's suggestions in that
Yeah,
moment,
yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
I see in the beginning, right, as a leader, naturally we want to do a good job. Naturally, we want everyone to like us. Naturally, we want to be as flexible and open-minded as
Mhm.
possible. But you just completed year one. Is it now clear in your head the areas where you want to seek feedback and sometimes areas where you need to make unilateral decisions because, again, it's more efficient
Yeah, yeah.
and you're looking through a wider lens now that you're in a conductor role
Yeah,
versus
yes,
more of a worker bee or musician
yes.
role. is that clear in your head now through year one?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
as you said, like I'm in a conductor role, and
Yeah.
there's so much of me that wants to, when I see something that needs to be done, like you
Mhm.
just want to do it, even
Yeah.
though I'm like, well, we have staff who can do that, or we have staff who are assigned to do
Mhm.
X, Y, and Z. And
Mhm.
um, I was like, I don't need to, like, I need back and allow those who are in place to do the things to do them, And so I think
Completely.
with more, we will be getting 3 new staff members, possibly
Mhm.
4,
Mhm.
which adds to the people that I will be conducting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really just trusting that the people who are sent to me, they were sent to me for a purpose or for a reason, and
Mhm.
trusting that they are going to fulfill their needs or the
Yeah.
responsibilities and
Sure.
fulfill what needs to be done. And so that's that other part. You have to get
Yeah.
used to being in that role.
Yeah.
And even as a mom, if our kids don't do something the way we feel like it should be done, we just do it, right? We just go in
Yeah.
and do it
Completely.
and or fix it, or and that's kind of how I operate as well as a leader. Like if it wasn't done in the way that should have been done, then let me just do it.
Yeah.
Let me just fix
Yeah.
it. When I know that I have a million other things to do that
Oh, completely. Well,
only I
it
can
can
do.
be exhausting. And it's
Mhm.
also finding that balance too,
Oh,
because I mean,
absolutely.
just like when I think every parent can relate to this. Our kid makes a mistake and we bend over backwards to fix it. But sometimes there's karmic lessons
Yes.
involved in them fixing their own less enlightened choices.
Yes.
And it's a very, it's like walking a tightrope in a leadership position because on one hand, we've got, board members and other administrators who are, especially year one or the first handful of years, really, really looking, and it feels like magnifying everything that happens under our roof. But how do we learn to stay calm and allow, have faith, allow things to kind of, and people to kind of self correct? Because
Yeah.
if we're always fixing everything all the time, right? Our tank is completely empty. And then we lose our position as conductor.
Yes. Yes. And I think that is that has been a big lesson for
Mm-hmm.
me, as learning how to refill and don't
Yeah.
just keep going on an empty tank. It will just create, we just create more strife for ourselves.
Yeah.
And um yeah,
Completely. Well,
yeah.
and a couple things, and I want to put a pin on in that comment because I know a lot of leaders, especially people who are more spiritually oriented, have their own personal practices for releasing stress,
Mhm.
for engaging the creative mind,
Mhm.
for kind of resetting themselves energetically. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But one thing I really want to focus on is, in this big leadership role, and there's a lot of criteria and things that you're very intentionally infusing into this blue ocean model, this non-mainstream model. But how do you infuse more humanity into your role in terms of working one to one with students? And
Oh
can you
yeah.
share a success story about a non traditional student or even an at risk student who you were able to reach on a soul deep level and
Yeah.
what that looked like?
Oh gosh. One young woman that really stands out in my mind is I a student that I really feel like she's a light being that is still trying to figure out the gifts that she has and carries. She is so intuitive and she really can take a situation and look at it deeply and see those things that need to be adjusted and fixed. And so she's very big on like her moral compass and her values. And she just wants, well, she thinks of society, a society needs to be thinking more humane. And then I try to, I was talking to her and try to get her to bring it back down. Like, okay, so we can't control all of what society does. We
Mm-hmm.
can control what we do and how we choose to move forward, how we choose to engage. And so as she would be thinking big and like society or the world or even even the state of Washington, like we need to change policies, we need to change
Mm-hmm.
how things operate, and so will get very she would get very down sometimes
Mm-hmm.
when she realizes like so much bigger than me, I don't know what to do, and I feel like I'm just stuck in this world that is just um it's just a horrible place to be, because
Yeah.
there's so much hurt and pain and harm. And so in talking with her, it's like, what can you control in your life at this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you see all of these big things happening on, you turn, well, it's not even television for our young people anymore. It's like what they see in social media.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling her, like, let's focus on what you have right here in
Yeah.
this moment, in your home, in your space, in your group of friends. Like, let's start there. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
you carry on this pain and this grief and this, if you just keep carrying that, that's all you're going to ever see. That's all
Mm-hmm.
you're going to connect to.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're going to continue to give energy to that part of the world that you don't want to see anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, if you start making those decisions that are going to change what you want to see changed and
Mm-hmm.
start putting in that love, the light, the good energy, that positive energy, and you start creating that in your world,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to see more of that and that love and that light. Therefore, now you are creating that energy around those things that you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're contributing to that, which then will grow out into society.
Yeah.
So, and she was just so profound in how she everything in big picture and as a
Mm-hmm.
whole. But when I told her that, she was like, I could really see her mind really taking it all in, and it's as
Yeah.
if I almost see like her mind starting to shift and readjust. Um, she did
Beautiful.
have to take some steps back from what she was doing. She was doing some things within, she was our student rep. She was in student council and a representative for our
Mm-hmm.
school. And she would go to the board meetings at the district level and those kinds of things. And what she ended up having to do is kind of taking a step back,
Mm-hmm.
and really taking a look at her she is.
Yeah.
And really that's my message to all of our young people. Like, let's really focus on who it is that you are becoming and who
Yeah.
you are, and what is it that you want out into the world.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I mean, you're teaching kids how to be present and how not to take on the weight of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's a difficult period of time for
Mhm.
kids to be young and there's just so much, doom scrolling and, even getting tied into intergenerational trauma, right? But oftentimes as leaders or even parents, we don't often inspire the kids to focus on what's, as you said, what's right in front of them, and focus on infusing your gifts, your light more into the world in the here and now. So it's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Gina, what I would love for you to share as we wrap up this very interesting and engaging conversation is, who is Gina outside of this role, and how do you stay sane? what are some of the activities or hobbies you are involved in that keep you grounded emotionally, spiritually, cognitively, physically?
Yeah.
How do you,
Yeah.
how do you keep it together? What do
Yeah.
you do outside of your role?
Yeah, I use so my husband and I we attend many powwows, which are celebrations of there's celebrations with drumming and singing and visiting. We have we call them our powwow family. So we have a whole powwow family out there that we reconnect with. It really does help me to disconnect all that I have going on with my job, with my profession, with my career. Um, but it doesn't disconnect me in a way that that because I feel like I take myself wherever I go,
Yeah.
right? I am a teacher and I'm a leader, but
Mhm.
I'm also a woman I'm a grandmother, I'm a auntie, I'm a sister, I'm all of these things, and I take myself wherever I go. But sometimes I need to put parts of who I am to the side and be more of so sometimes I'm a dancer, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter.
Mhm.
And so sometimes those parts of myself are more prominent. And when I allow my profession to, when I set her aside and
Mhm.
let her
Mhm.
rest,
Yes.
just letting her rest,
Uh-huh.
um, and I get to be the mom, grandma, or the
Yeah.
daughter, and engage in that. And sometimes people ask me, well, how's your work going? And sometimes I give them a whole explanation, and sometimes I just say it's fine.
Yeah, right. That's right. Depending on where you are mentally. Yeah. Don't
Yes,
want to go there, right? Don't
yes,
want to give more energy to that part of my
yes.
role because I'm on break now.
I'm on break. I am Sister Gina. I'm friend
Yeah.
Gina, and
Yeah.
I just want to be that sometimes.
Yeah.
And giving,
Absolutely. Do you
yeah.
think having that, allowing those other parts of you to be part of your life experience helps you, walk in Monday morning feeling more refreshed, more
Absolutely.
up to the task?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And just even for today, we came into school today. We don't have students here today.
Mhm.
Um, Work to do. And
Yeah.
so coming in and feeling like, okay, I'm ready to look at that pile of work now, and
Yeah.
let's,
Completely.
jump in and begin tackling that, and coming in with um an energized kind of a
Yeah.
fresh, yes, because I was
Completely.
take a day. Sometimes it takes me 2 days to really like let things go.
Yeah.
It's so easy just to go, so easy to check email, so easy to go and write this letter or
Right.
and get drawn back into work. But really, if I just let it be
Yep.
and I can disconnect for a while, I come back fresh and new.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
always feel
so
like,
hard to do that.
yeah, it is. And I always feel like year one or the first couple of years in a challenging role is more about putting out fires, that you didn't even know were,
Yes.
happening around you. But then each and every year it gets, there's a little bit of a better flow, and you start to feel a little bit more seasoned or comfortable with the millions of things that come up. Because, and by year 5, I feel like you've almost seen everything,
Mm-hmm.
everything that could possibly go south, or every conundrum a student has, or every challenge a teacher or a parent brings. Going in as you've, you're wrapping up year 1. What are some pieces of wisdom now the higher self is wanting to remind you for year 2? What are you going to do differently in the year ahead as a leader in this role?
I'm glad you asked. That's one of the things I've been really contemplating on is
Yeah,
like, what are those things that went well,
yeah,
and what are things that need adjusting, and what are those things that we just need to get rid of altogether.
yeah, yeah.
So
Complete. So now you've got piles,
yes,
right, of
exactly.
lists of like, yes, more of this, or wow, we better attend to this. And this is like, yeah,
Yeah,
this isn't working. Like, this
yes,
is not part of the education culture I'm trying to
yes.
create. So you've got more clarity in
Clarity
these things.
around.
Anything else that you can say confidently will be a part of year 2 for you? Whether it's tweaking, the education tracks, or bringing in more culture,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like, what do you think you're going to be focusing on year 2?
Really looking at how to integrate subject areas.
Mm,
We do one really well. We do ELA and social studies, which
mhm.
creates our humanities class.
Yeah.
And that's one that we do really well. Um, and part of that is the teachers. They have worked together really well. They call each other sisters, and they can do that well. Now, thinking about that across other subject areas like
Mhm,
science and math, and really integrating that, so
mhm.
we're not compartmentalized so much. Like,
Okay.
we're now team teaching, we're team
Hmm.
teaching
Love it.
different subject areas, and we're bringing in that support staff that's going to help bring the students along, and
Mhm,
we're going to accelerate some
mhm,
areas of teaching and learning with
mhm.
staff's expertise,
Yep.
really allowing staff to think about, again, it goes back to, who are you? Who are
Yeah.
you as a teacher? Who are you
Yes.
as a professional?
Hmm.
And what gifts do you bring? And then
Hmm.
using those gifts in the classroom as teachers. And I think we all have our own gifts. And if we are using our gifts, we're being more authentic. We're being our authentic selves. And that is, I feel like, is a part that is a piece that really connects us. And
Oh, I love that. More focus on subject.
yeah.
Yes. And so if I am a board member and I am interviewing somebody for a position in a choice school, or a more of a blue ocean education model, as a board member, what are the top 3 qualities I should look for in a potential principal of a choice
Ooh,
school? I know, I
that's
know.
a
Top
good
3
question.
qualities you think are the most important.
I think somebody who, for one, can be their authentic self,
Okay.
and then somebody who just has a range of experiences with,
Mhm.
well, not just with education, but it just, a range of experiences of, um, and can speak to them.
Yeah, they've seen a lot in
Yes.
their life experience. How about the most one of the most important core values in somebody who's going to be taking on a project at this level? What's an
Boy,
important core value?
boy, I think reflection, a
Ooh,
self-reflection,
yes.
a really good reflective practitioner.
Oh, gosh. That's creative and that's brilliant. And I think that's spot on. And
Yeah.
if I were going to interview for a position like yours, and I might have tons of teaching experience before I step into a role of this nature, give me your best piece of advice.
Oh gosh. Um, be open-minded. Uh,
Okay.
be open-minded and um, don't take things personal and have a
Ooh.
good self-care plan.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Boy, I feel like that applies to anybody who's going to step into a leadership position, whether they're opening their own company or they're, going to be moving into a leadership position, how important it is to have I call it an internal compass and be
Yeah,
connected to the voice of the higher self or the intuitive mind because there's always going to be a situation or a person out there who's going to challenge you, right?
always.
And threaten to, subconsciously maybe
Yeah,
throw you off kilter.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah. And as I'm thinking about your question, it's like one thing that we also teach is like you being, your whole self, your holistic self.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about your mental, your spiritual, and your physical,
Mm-hmm.
and really knowing yourself
Mm-hmm.
through that lens. Who
Oh,
are you
Gina.
as a mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical being? Who
Yeah.
are you? And what does that mean? And can you identify and speak to those aspects of yourself?
The whole
Yeah.
person, the whole person. Gina, I have absolutely loved our time. This interview has been amazing. I'm really excited to air it because I've never had somebody with your particular background or your soul contract
Yeah.
to
Yes.
work in a leadership position in a Native American choice school in Washington. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time, Gina
Oh,
Bluebird.
yes. Yes. Thank
Okay.
you. Yay.
Okay, great. Take care now.
All right.
Okay, bye.